Hey Wastelanders, this is Gary, and today let's go over this knife I received from the Apex Pass Around. I received this about 10 days ago, so it needs to go back tomorrow. So I'm doing this review on Wednesday. Knife Day. It was going to be the day after Knife Day when you see this tomorrow. And by the way, if you didn't catch my review of this knife, the Splint, there's a ongoing sale from Olight on this and much of their stuff, up to 40% off. I believe this is 29% off, something like that. Anyway, so again, this is the chunk. I had my finger on the lock bar mechanism. So it's a frame lock, and if you don't quite place your finger in the right place, it won't open when you try to thumb flick at it. So I just make sure I have it right here, and it will open any time, or open every time. So, or you can use the flipper tab to open it, but it's much more fun to flick it out with the thumb stud. And if you saw my earlier video, the thumb stud is just like a screw. It's very little, it has very little protuberance. So, but if you get your finger on there just right and make sure you're not on the lock bar, it's quite snappy. Yeah, so I had my finger on the lock bar instead of the clip. I had my finger slipped on the lock bar. So for some reason I've been doing that a lot lately with this knife. So this is a drop point S35 VN steel satin blade. It's a pretty fingerprint magnet. And it's flat grind, full titanium frame and clip. Again, it was designed by Dirk Pinkerton. And unfortunately, it's a frame lock. As I get older and get more knives, I kind of run into a frame lock flipping problems. Like I have my big hands, and I'll often like screw it up and screw up the flipping action when I try to use the thumb stud, because I'll put my finger on the lock bar. I don't do that when I use the flipper tab or spotty flick it out. So this is on washers. From what I read, I can't open up an Apex knife, but I asked Grumpy because he had a Grumpy Grunt, because he has this knife, but I don't believe he had it in possession. I believe he lent it out to some other people to review, and he wasn't able to open it up. It seems like it's on bearings, but at times it feels like it's on washers too. So it might be indeed on washers. So, but it's still, for washers, it has a great action. Anyway, the handle is quite robust. It measures at 4 3/8 inches lengthwise, and the blade is 3 3/8 inches. So it's maybe an inch shorter. It doesn't feel like it. It doesn't seem like it when it is closed. You can see it's almost at the end. So overall, it's 7 3/4. The handle thickness measures at 0.49 or 12.5 millimeters. The blade thickness is 0.13 inches or 3.3 millimeters. The edge thickness is at 0.014 or 0.38 millimeters. The weight measures in at 4.7 ounces, so it's a heavy one, but it doesn't feel that heavy because it's titanium. It's just because it has a thick blade. The blade width is like, I think that's called the height. Anyway, it's 1 7/16, so it's almost 1.5 inches tall. Oh, I didn't tell you how much it weighed in grams. It weighs 134 in grams. So, yeah, this is going to be a traditional review where I tell you all the specs. So, I wanted to give you a good look at this knife so you could see the screws. I'm not saying Dirk Pinkerton ripped off Poltergeist Works design. But Poltergeist Works design, if you're not familiar with him, he's out of Poland. And he usually does knives for real steel. And he's done one knife for Bestech, I believe. But I don't know if... I think he has some Spyderco designs, but I don't know if they're ever been created. So you can go on his website. You can see all his... maybe if I think about it, I'll put a link to his website in the description. Anyway, I don't think Dirk Pinkerton ripped off him, but it's reminiscent of Poltergeist Works design, just in the tooling or the fasteners he used, like these screws. And I don't know what these screws are called. I think they're called Chicago something, but don't quote me on that. So I'm going to compare it to some real steel knives. So this is a real steel. You could see what I'm talking about. You could see the screws, but Poltergeist Works has a finished design on the presentation side, and the other side, it's the same screws, just a little bit bigger. But where is Dirk Pinkerton didn't finish this presentation side, Poltergeist Works does. He has a female and a male and a female type screw. I'm gonna give you a look at some real steel knives in comparison, because of solely based on the design of the hardware. So this is the Sidious. You can see it's quite about the same size basically, and I'm going to give you a much larger knife to compare it to. This is the Real Steel Control. This is a premium knife, so you can see hardware very similar, but in Dirk Pinkerton's design, I like how he used the hardware as a thumb stud. I don't like this thumb stud, so I usually use the flipper tab on this. And let's show you a couple more comparisons. This is the Real Steel 2500 Delta, I believe. Man, these names are hard to remember. So again, it has the same screws as this, a little bit bigger, but I like how they're finished on the presentation side. And we'll drag out another one to compare. This is the knife I was telling you about, designed by, I think it's designed by Poltergeist Works, but it was made by Bestech. So again, they use the same hardware, but it's in black color, and this is titanium. This is titanium too, so I felt like I should show you some premium knives. The only premium knife I didn't show is this. This is a regular production knife. Has copper infused in the micarta. So, but yeah, anyway, I just wanted to show you guys about some knives that kind of compare on design of the chunk. In this review up, I've been carrying this chunk probably 10 days, and I really like this knife. I think I've told you I like it on the quick look, but I still like it. I talked about how I didn't kind of like having my fingers constrained in the handle, but I've grown to get used to it. I kind of like it now. It locks your hand into the handle, having this I don't know what you call it, that back end that kind of yeah, I don't know what you call it. It just kind of captures like a front end on the back end. So this knife goes for $180. I've looked it up, and most websites sell this knife for $180, and I think it's a little over 200 MSRP. But if you I don't know if this is a limited edition, so that's good, but I wouldn't count on it being around forever. I just have a feeling this knife is going to go by the way. It's probably going to disappear by the end of the year, and you'll probably have to get it on the secondary market. That's just me having a guess, my gut feeling, but it's, you know, by no means am I an expert. I probably got that wrong anyway. So it's just a good knife, and I can see if people like collecting or buying this knife a lot. It's a good looking knife, and it's very fun. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna let you go, and hopefully you check out this knife on some other sites, some other reviews. It's a super premium knife, but $180, yeah, that's a little steep, but I like it. I think Grumpy Grunt liked it enough to buy it. He reviewed this knife, and when he reviewed this knife, he went out and bought it when he sent it on. So I don't know if I'm going to, but if I see a sale, I mean, I'm a pretty cheap bastard. If I see this knife on maybe White Mountain Knives, where I can use my code and get 10% off, I'll probably do it. So it's a great knife. All right, guys, take care, Wastelanders.
Losing time, I'm fading fast. I just wanna make it last. Try to let go of the past. I close my eyes and face the blast. Sleepless nights and headache stack. Restlessness to hell and back. What's my purpose? What do I grab? A slippery surface, a heart attack. And sometimes you just gotta believe